So, good day everyone. This is Renilyn Lagayle once again, and this time we are going to talk about another famous author in Renaissance period, which is Jean Baptiste Poquelin. So, a little background on Renaissance period. Um, the Renaissance The name Renaissance is a French word which means rebirth. It symbolized the beginning of a new era of art, rebirthing the classical models of ancient Greek and Rome periods while using the modern techniques. It cultivated a new change in art, knowledge, and culture. It changed the way the citizens thought, with first this rediscovery of classical philosophy, literature, and art, as well as the new discoveries in travel, invention, and style. Um, Jean Baptiste Poquelin. He is known for his stage name as Molière. He is a French actor and playwright, the greatest of all writers of French comedy. He received an education from the Jesuits and was studying law when at the age of 21. He renounced his career to join a troupe of itinerant actors. In 1643, he signed a contract with an actress and other members on establishing a troupe called the Illustrious Theatre. But they were unable to pay their bills and Poquelin was jailed for debt. After they are released in 1646 to 1658, they staged play throughout the French countryside, with Poquelin assuming a role as the troupe's leader, principal actor, and the creator of scenarios. Molière succeeds in inventing a new style that was based on a double vision of normal and abnormal scene in relation to each other. The comedy of the true opposed to the spacious, the intelligent scene alongside the pedantic. Moliere's medium expression of his life was the theater. Public attend his play, but they also took sides on Moliere's play, and some of them were against him. The School for Wives, one of his play, was found offending for others, and that this is a big scandal to his play. So one of his famous work at that time is The School for Wives. Its theme, the are betrayal, perception, innocence versus experience. In the play, Arnulf betrays everyone close to him, and in the end, he was betrayed by himself, at least according to his own feelings about the events. Arnulf is absorbed with his own perception and belief in intelligence that he doesn't recognize the intelligence of others. The tone of this play is ominous since there are scenes that the character is in a situation where they are threatening, particularly from the situation of Arnulf when he found out that Agnes has feelings for Horace. So, the characters in this story involves Arnulf. He is a wealthy man and guardian of Agnes. He thinks of himself clever and protected from any unfaithfulness when he has his ward. Agnes is the ward of Arnulf and an innocent young girl who falls in love with Horace instead of her guardian Arnulf. Horace is a handsome young man who falls in love with Agnes. He plans to steal her away from Arnulf. Alain is an Arnulf's manservant. Georgette is Arnulf's maidservant. Griselda is a friend of Arnulf who tries to warn him of the downfall of his plan with Agnes. And Enrique is Griselda's brother-in-law and Agnes' father. And Oronte, Horace's father and Arnulf's old friend. So, the scene of the play is a square in a provincial town, a notary. It usually refers to the background depending on the time, duration, story, and climate of the story. The mood of the play is caprice, formal, and angry. The narrative device used in Jean Baptiste Poquelin's work is breaking the fourth wall. This device is originated from theater, where the fourth wall is referring to the imaginary wall between the audience and the actors. So basically, the actors here is directly talking to the audience. Since Poquelin is a theater playwright, his play, The School for Wives, used a narrative device called breaking the fourth wall. So in the story, in the play, Arnulf is a wealthy middle-aged man with no children and not yet married. He has a ward named Agnes, a young girl whom he plans to marry soon and educate her at the convent, hiding her away from the world and men. Risaldi warned Arnulf about his plans for Agnes, for this might be his own downfall, and yet he did not listen. The purpose of Arnulf in insulating Agnes is for her to be ignorant and know nothing about the world, for he believes that if he shields Agnes from the world, she will become a dutiful wife and ensure her devotion to him. Apparently, all of Arnulf's plan is in threat when Horace, son of his friend Oronte, um, came in the picture. Horace and Agnes knows and have loved each other, and Horace came to Arnulf to ask for help in eloping Agnes in secret, for she was hidden by Monsieur de la Source. Coincidentally, Arnulf and Monsieur de la Source are one person, and Horace, on the other hand, does not know about it, for Arnulf had changed his name before they met. Arnulf confronts Agnes about her relationship with Horace, and this confused Agnes and thought that Arnulf supports her and Horace, and it also the same from Arnulf that he thought that Agnes might not love Horace and loves him. Um, the next thing happened then is Agnes confess her love for Horace, and Horace is more eager on eloping with her. Arnulf realized the situation and immediately prepared his marriage with Agnes in notary, and both Horace and Arnulf are very desperate on holding on to Agnes. Though Arnulf did everything on keeping Agnes away from Horace, he still failed when Agnes' um, father came and agrees with the marriage of her daughter and Horace. And with that, all of Arnulf's plan from the beginning failed. So, the moral of the play is that you cannot have what you want all the time. Even if you did everything in your power, if destiny forbids it and find a way, you will lose in the end. Just like the situation of Arnulf, he is so desperate on holding Agnes in his hand, and yet all his plan failed and ruined in a moment. Keeping the one you want or love away from the world does not mean that they only stick to you. There is always a one person who can change everything and would be desperate on giving that person the right for freedom. One example is Horace. He did not give up on Agnes when he met and eventually falls in love with her, and he even planned on taking her away from the convent where she was hidden for her whole life. Instead of Arnulf, Agnes falls in love with Horace even though they just met whenever he visits. So that would be all, and I hope you learned something about one of the famous author in the Renaissance period, which is Jean Baptiste Poquelin, and his famous play, The School for Wives. So that would be all, and be healthy and God bless us all.